This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the 20th of March today. A kind of a James Bond-esque episode today, so please be sure to stay to the end because I've got extra stories after this one. Okay, so we're going to concentrate on a yacht called Motor Yacht Royal Romance. Royal Romance is a 92 meter or 303 foot yacht built by Feadship in the Netherlands. She was delivered to her owner in 2015, and at that time she was the largest yacht ever built by Feadship. The value is estimated to be worth about $200 million. The yacht was delivered to Viktor Medvedchuk. He's a Ukrainian politician and lawyer. He has been the chairman of the pro-Russian political organization Ukrainian Choice and has been the opponent of Ukraine joining the European Union. He's close to Vladimir Putin. In fact, Vladimir Putin is the godfather to one of his daughters. Anyway, the vessel has been laid up. Laid up means it's not being used. It's been laid up in Rijeka in Croatia for the last 6 months or so. She was in the Croatian press recently when a group of Ukrainians who've settled in Croatia discovered who the owner was, and they decided to make a plan to attack the vessel, physically attack the vessel. They even put on Facebook instructions of how to make Molotov cocktails. The story was even more incredible because the captain, when he discovered this on Facebook, he contacted the police in Rijeka and they did not reply. It took them 3 days to actually attend the vessel. The vessel had to hire extra security to secure the vessel from attack. The captain of the vessel, his name is Bubika Saric, and he told the Croatian press that the vessel had actually been sold in 2021 and no longer belonged to Medvedchuk. He said if the vessel was still owned by Medvedchuk, it would have been in Monaco where it was before. But he also said that he cannot say who the owner of the vessel is because of an NDA. Now, it's quite possible that the vessel was sold, right? However, as you can see, the vessel arrived in Rijeka on the 21st of October 2021, according to AIS, and has been there ever since. Viktor Medvedchuk was arrested in Ukraine last year in 2021, I think it was May 2021, and he was charged, according to the Ukrainian website interfax.com.ua, Medvedchuk was charged with treason and aiding the activities of a terrorist organization due to his involvement in the illegal supply of coal to the occupied territory, the Prosecutor General of Ukraine said. He was placed under house arrest in north of Kiev, and he was there until the invasion of the Russian troops. A few days after the invasion, it became known that Medvedchuk had escaped house arrest in Kiev. He'd actually been fitted with an ankle bracelet to monitor his movements, which he had removed and fled. The advisor to the Interior Minister, Anton Gerashenko, suggested that Medvedchuk would escape back to the Russian Federation. On the 16th of March this year, it became known that a special group was looking for the fugitive politician. Later, Medvedchuk's lawyer stated that he did not flee the country but had moved to a safe place. His whereabouts are currently unknown. So I contacted the captain of Royal Romance to ask him for a statement, but he never replied. The vessel was arrested this week in Rijeka in Croatia because of sanctions placed against Viktor Medvedchuk. Now, the vessel's responsibility, any vessel, all of the vessels we've been talking about in these videos, the responsibility is to prove with paperwork that who owns the vessel. So even though we don't know necessarily in the public domain, the authorities will go to a vessel and they will say you need to supply paperwork to show that who the owner of the vessel is and also who the beneficial owner is. So it could be that, as an example, Usmanov's vessel was registered to a company in Malta, but it was traced back to him and as such was arrested and is still being held in Germany. So the same thing will have happened here. The captain will have had to have shown paperwork that proves that Medvedchuk is not the beneficial owner. And as at the moment, the vessel is still arrested in Croatia, so that seems to suggest that they don't believe that the vessel was sold. So in other news, the 71 meter or 236 foot superyacht Axioma is heading to Gibraltar currently. She traveled across from the Caribbean, and as most likely with most yachts, once they get across the Caribbean, they go to Gibraltar to refuel. The owner of the vessel is one Dmitry Pompiansky, and he's currently under EU sanctions. However, as Gibraltar is part of the UK, and the UK does not currently have him on the sanctions list, he is technically allowed to dock in Gibraltar. He's most likely not on board. I would say 99% certain he's not on board. But like I said, as there are currently no, that I can find at least, UK sanctions against this man, that the vessel will probably be okay to dock. But it will be interesting to see if that changes in the next few days, right? I think the date of the ETA for the vessel is tomorrow's date. Okay, so more James Bond stuff now. So if you've been watching my videos, you'll remember we've been following Roman Abramovich's yachts. So he's got two big yachts that we've been concentrating on. He does actually own more yachts, but the ones we've been concentrating on is Yacht Solaris, which was in Barcelona in refit, left Barcelona the day before the UK sanctions were placed, not the EU sanctions. Then it travelled to Tivat in Montenegro, where it sat at anchor for a few days. As far as I can tell, and as far as my sources have been able to say, he did not refuel in Tivat, which was, I think, was probably the original reason. Then the European Union added him to the list of sanctions for the EU too. Just as they did that, his vessel departed from Montenegro and headed south. In the meantime, Yacht Eclipse left Anguilla in the Caribbean and raced across the Atlantic at 18 knots, passed through the Straits of Gibraltar and sailed through the Med, whereas it slowed right down to about 6 knots, 6 to 8 knots, and it's been doing that ever since. Now, that is a long trip. It's about 3,500 miles from Anguilla to Gibraltar. She's now moved further along. It looks like they are heading to Turkey. What's interesting about this is as Solaris sails south, the AIS just had awaiting orders for the destination, and the vessel was traveling very slowly. It was doing about 6 knots. And then a couple of days ago, I actually had a few people contact me to tell me as well that the vessel was very close to a oil products tanker called Vyazma. I think that's how you pronounce it. An oil products tanker can actually hold fuel, refined fuel, to refuel vessels. And this, at one point in the track, when I was looking at AIS, the vessels got very close to each other, within 2 nautical miles. And also, interestingly, the AIS on the oil products tanker went offline for a period of hours. I think it was about 6 hours. There was no AIS for that vessel for about 6 hours. The vessels were very close to each other. The speed of Solaris was 2 knots, which is, that's extremely slow for a vessel to be at sea. And it could have been that the vessel wasn't even under propulsion. It could have just been being carried with the current. So these two vessels very close together. It looks like they could possibly have been refueling Solaris at sea, a Russian-flagged oil products tanker. Now, in the meantime, Eclipse is a few hundred miles behind and heading in the same direction. I wasn't able to see that products tanker get anywhere near close to Eclipse, but they must be getting low on fuel now. The range of Eclipse is 6,500 nautical miles, and she's done about 4,500 nautical miles now, so she must be getting low on fuel. Like I said, it looks like the vessels are heading to Turkey, and the oil products tanker has now left the area where they were, but Solaris did look like it was possible that it could have been refueled whilst at sea. I say it's possible. It's unlikely There are two types of ways to refuel at sea. There's one is bunkering, which is the vessels come right alongside each other, tie lines to each other, and then and connect the pipes, and then refuel that way. And then there's something called replenish at sea, which is done usually by military vessels. But a lot of hardware is required for that kind of refueling, so it's unlikely they did a replenish at sea. But it is possible, if the weather was good enough, that the vessels could have come alongside each other and actually done refueling that way. But I still think it's unlikely. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for this video. Be sure to like this video and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more to come. All right guys, thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.